Joining us now exclusively, live from the Pharma Conference in Washington, is Pfizer Chairman and CEO Albert Bourla, along with our own Angelica Peebles. Angelica.
Hey, Morgan. Albert, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time today. I know it's a busy few days for you here in Washington. And of course, we have a new Secretary of HHS. And just a few days ago, Secretary Kennedy said, quote, "We don't have any good safety studies on almost any of the vaccines. And specifically on the COVID vaccine, he said, quote, "We don't have good data on it, and that is a crime." So I want to know what you think when you hear that and what the line for you is on vaccines.
I didn't hear this specific statement, but I have heard many statements that he has done in the past about vaccines, and clearly we are not in agreement with that. And clearly the entire medical community or academic community or scientific are not in agreement. But I try to focus on the opportunity rather than on the problem. I try to focus on what can we do together outside the vaccines. And I believe with Secretary Kennedy and his very strong focus on making America healthy again, we can find a partner that we can do things that are bolder than other administrations maybe could done in the past.
And you're about to become the board of the chair of pharma, and you and some of your peers are actually going to the White House this week to meet with President Trump. So what are you planning on talking about with him, and are you going to address some of the cuts that they're making at NIH, and do you worry about those cuts to research?
Look, with President Trump, personally, I have very long-lasting relationship because of the COVID times and the Operation Warp Speed, and that was cemented at that time. And I met him several times. And so we will continue the dialogue that we had in all these recent meetings that we had. Clearly, we speak about access of patients, and we speak about what conditions we can have in this country so that the innovation, the medical innovation, will flourish. NIH and the cuts that are happening there, clearly, it's something that could affect the overall ecosystem, but it is composed from the big pharma, the small biotechs, the medium-sized biotechs, academia, and venture capital and equity. So that's probably a little bit of negative, but I hope that many other things will become very positive. And as a whole, I think progress in research will be dramatic in the next few years.
And we have a question back at headquarters.
Yes. Albert, it's great to have you on. Thanks for being with us. I realize it's only one piece of a broader portfolio, but it is the piece that continues to get outsized attention, and that is your vaccine portfolio. Vaccine makers like yourself largely shielded from liability. If the products are safe and effective, what is the need to continue to shield, to have these liability shields, and what happens if those shields are changed or go away completely?
If the product is not safe and effective, we'll never get approval from FDA or from the other health authorities. They are very strict when they are approving products, particularly for vaccines, because exactly it's given to healthy people. However, in a system that litigations can flourish, anyone can create a demand that the accident in the car happened because of a vaccine. And with a jury, it's going to be maybe a flip of a coin. And this is, I think, why the Congress, it was not an administration, had passed this legislation that is protecting those that they have approval from the FDA from further liability.